laipni lūgti esat mūsu 5. meetup, ja, tā kā šoreiz jau otru reizi tas ir webinara formāti, ja, tā kā iepriekš mēs esam taisījuši šo klātieni, bet tagad mēs dēļ mūsu tā kā visiem zināmiem apstākļiem, ja, tā kā taisām šo online. Ļoti ceram, ka mēs kaut kādā momentā atkal, ja, tā kā satiksimies visi, ja, tā kā klātienes formātā, jo tieši šītam pasākumam, protams, mēs tā kā pēc mūsu pieredzes daudz labāk. Mēs tiekamies klātienē. Šodien mums ir tā kā, nu, teiksim tā kā pusotrs temats. Ja, tā kā mēs gribam jums pastāstīt par mūsu tā kā jaunu iniciatīvu, kas saucās Mentālas veselības advokāti. Tad tā ir tā mūsu jauna vizija, ja, tā kā mēs gribam sākt runāt par tiem jautājumiem, par ko mēs runājam šeit, par mentālu veselību, par stresu, par izdeigumiem, ja, tā kā, par burnoutiem. Ja, tā kā mēs gribam sākt par to runāt arī ar starptevējiem, ja, tā kā, un mēs gribam arī aicināt visus tos, kas ir ieinteresēti, ja, tā kā sākt nest šo ziņu saviem darbdevējiem, sākt strādāt ar HR-iem, ar savām komandām. Un šodien mēs arī pastāstīsim, kā mēs šo sadarbību, ja, tā kā mēs šo kustību redzam. Ja, tā kā mēs pastāstīsim, kā ir iespējams tā kā pievienoties, piebiedroties, mēs pastāstīsim, kas tas nozīmē. Ja, tā kā tad Alise, kas ir viena no mūsu pirmajiem advokātiem, ja, tad pastāstīs par to, kāpēc viņa uzskata, ka tas ir svarīgi. Jā, un arī vēl viens tāds paziņojums, ja, tā kā sagatavot šo nedēļu, ja, tad mūsu weblapas Chilaiks.com ir iespējams pieteikties, tur būs arī iespēja pieteikties arī tā kā mentāliem advokātiem, ja, tā kā, bet tagad jau tur ir iespēja pieteikties, ja jūs redzat, ka jums ir kaut kādas problēmas, ka jums ir nepieciešamība dabūt kaut kādas konsultācijas, jūs varat pieteikties diezgan vienkārša veida, ja, tā kā jūs varat izvēlēties, kādu palīdzību jūs gribat, vai jūs gribat strādāt ar coachiem, ar mentoriem vai ar terapeutiem. Jūs varat izvēlēties, vai jūs tā kā gribētu tā kā dabūtu palīdzību bezmaksas, vai jūs gribat, vai jūs esat gatavi par to arī kaut ko maksāt. Un tad mēs savienosim ar tiem cilvēkiem, ar tiem specialistiem, kas ir izteikuši savu gatavību strādāt ar mums, ar jums. Ja, tā kā, un tad katram cilvēkam, kas pieteiksies tādai palīdzībai, mēs atradīsim vispiemērotāku tā kā speciālistu un tā kā iedosim jums tos kontaktus. To jūs visu varat izdarīt Chilaiks.com vietnē, ja, tā kā tur jūs atradīsiet tādu sadaļu Take Action. Tur ir gan iespēja specialistiem pieteikties un pateikt, ka viņi tā kā arī grib pievienoties mūsu specialistu grupai un palīdzēt citiem. Tur arī ir iespēja pieteikties, lai saņemtu to palīdzību. Bet šodien galvenais mūsu tā kā temats, tas ir, protams, kā parasti, tas ir stāsts ar, tā kā tas ir saruna ar mūsu viesi, ja, tā kā, un tā saruna mums šodien notiks angliski, ja, tā kā, tāpēc es tagad pārslēgšos arī uz angļu valodu pēc brīža. So, our guest today is Sandris.
Hello.
And yeah, I mean, like, maybe I will give like a little bit of my introduction, why I have decided to invite Sandris here. And well, long story short, I think first time we met, that was like a year and a half ago.
Yep.
And I think we had like a very quick chat. I don't know if something you remember about that, but I mean, like, we chatted about like how sometimes we are being tired with what we are doing, and like and I've seen like quite a bit of understanding in like Sandris' eyes, and like he was saying, yeah, that's exactly what I feel sometimes. So and that's actually what we're talking about with all our guests, like, you know, kind of how thing that we are doing in our working career is bringing us kind of this feeling of being tired, and what we actually doing in order not to get stressed too much, and how we are catching this moment. So that was the first reason why I wanted to talk with you, Sandris. And another one is, I think, and you will tell us more about like what you are doing now, but I think you are kind of your combination of the things that you are doing in your career is quite interesting, and it sounds quite interesting to me. And I think you have like kind of a mission, it's also very interesting to discuss, like, you know, kind of how that impacts your daily feelings, and how you know feel doing all these things. So maybe we will start, and maybe you will kind of first introduce and tell about, like, you know, what are you doing, what takes your time, like.
Well, first of all, I'm probably a pretty bad example about how not to get tired and overworked with stuff, because I have had a feeling that I'm like really burnt out. But yeah, quick introduction about me. I am a software developer, like IT guy who likes to code stuff. I have been doing that for like last 10 years probably, and I always had a lot of energy so that I can do like whatever I want, so that I can stay up late, so that I can like code till 3 in the morning and like go to the work at 8. And but it's a little bit linked together with my purpose, like as myself, that I always wanted to have something on my own, that I wanted to like create a business or like do something to get further and further and further. And I always had some side hustles, so that I was like trying to make this stuff, make this thing, and the coding was always the easiest part. And yeah, and for the last 2 years I am teaching and participating in teaching people to code. So for those of you who haven't heard, we have like a programming school in Riga where we gather people in which I invest like my time and money, and other people who help me, and we teach them to code and to be successful software developers, and we take money for the tuition only when they get a job. So basically it's a really high responsibility in teaching them, and students must have responsibility to like being taught and getting a job. So yeah, that's a small introduction.
Yeah, that sounds really great. I mean, like, I think, well, just kind of not for advertisement purposes, but I think guys are doing really great job, and I think this very fact that you're putting like very high expectations on your students, it's actually kind of means a lot in terms of the quality that you are getting, kind of, you know, as an outcome.
Yeah.
So and yeah, so that's a great part. But then you said that you felt being burned out, or you feeling it like that now, or
at the moment probably no, but like I always thought that like being burnt out is for pussies, that now like these are the people who don't have an energy or something like that. And when I started this, the name of the school is Aleks. So that when I started the Aleks, when I took my first group, and we needed to like create a legal entity, to prepare all the materials, to get the people to teach and stuff, and so on and so on. And in the meantime, I had like my own personal life and a full-time job. And when you have like a full-time job which actually I really like. I really like the place when I was working. It's One Do Finance, and I really liked my job when I was being like software developer. It's like sole purpose of me like working in a nice company with nice people and doing what I love code. But besides, I have taken on me responsibility to like group of 20 people and saying, okay, we are gonna work hard for 3 months, and you are going to like be successful developers after that point. And then at that point you somewhere have your personal life and you have like two more or less like full-time jobs. And in one point it was already like the second month of the teaching, and I was sitting at my job and I was like staring at the screen and like thinking how should I do this thing in code. And I was like feeling like that for I don't know 3 days. And then I was thinking like what the fuck, usually it takes me like 5-10 minutes, okay, maybe like 1 hour to solve this kind of problem, but I'm like stuck for the third day, and I could not understand like why is that. And then I understood that basically probably I have a burnout, that I could not think normally. I was just like stuck somewhere and I could not operate normally. And then I like took a vacation for 2 weeks, and in that vacation I could not like really do something intellectual because I still needed to continue to teach the people. So basically I did all my intellectual stuff on creating assignments and to talk with them, but it was like I don't know 15-20 hours a week. And in the meantime I was just like watching TV, taking long walks, and just like thinking about life. And at few points I even had like a thing that I could not talk normally, that my like voice was a little bit dripping, and I like could not understand like why is that, because usually I know how to talk like pretty normally and I'm not shy or afraid of something. But at that point I was like trying to get my thoughts on the line so that I could like make words sound like a sentence. And it was like I wasn't visiting any specialist or doctor at that time, but I understood that I just need to take like a few weeks off and just like to do nothing, just stare at the wall or on TV or something like that.
Was it enough? 2 weeks?
After these 2 weeks, like 2 weeks was enough at that point.
Mm-hmm.
After these 2 weeks, as I said, I really like the job and the place, but I understood that in the long term it is not going to be solution, and like always some kind of side job I was taking as an option how to get out of like 9 to 5 job and to do something that I like. But we came into agreement that like it was very hard for me to leave my daily job, so because I like the place and I wasn't believing that this Codex will be so successful. So basically I asked my direct manager that okay, maybe I will just take pay cut of 1/4 and we'll be having like 1 week month off. And yeah, they agreed. And after 6 months I understood that okay, like I'm not worth that money which I'm getting a salary, because I was still doing my best, but my head was probably like already in my side job, and I said okay, like I really like everything, but I think I should go.
So you asked for a pay cut.
Yeah.
So you started to work like 3 weeks, and then he was taking 1 week off at your main place. But then even after working like this for the 6 months, you still believe that you are not performing like
no, it was not been performing like in the mental state or whatever, but I understood that maybe it's time to leave my daily job, because I was preparing for that all my life. And then the funny thing happened, that I left my job and like I felt into depression, like what am I going to do with my life, because then in this side job which was becoming the main job, teaching people, there was not so much work to do, but I always wanted the freedom so that I could do like whatever I want. And at that point I understood that I don't know what I want.
So you got a lot of spare time, like
yeah, and
comparing to the previous life.
And I was reading about that before. There's a very famous blogger, Tim Ferriss, and he has like a book which is like one of the top bestsellers for our work week. And there was a special section about you will have like hole in you when you will have a lot of free time. So at that point, I just took everything which I wanted to take. Like I joined one startup where I'm actually currently working. I took like one freelance job, second freelance job, third freelance job, and like 2 or 3 months I was like so overwhelmed with the jobs that I was like working from early morning till the late evening, because that's as well is the thing which is probably coming from the roots that how to say correctly, that I'm like searching for myself, it's usually in anecdotes and in the jokes, but at that point I really could not understand what is the thing which I would like to do, and I was trying to catch up on everything, like fear of missing out something, and I took a lot of jobs and again I get stuck, but I wasn't having burnout, and I understood, okay, this is the last time which when I'm saying yes to something, I will say no to everything. I just need to take this pile of whatever and do this job. So basically at the moment now, for like last 2 weeks, like this is, I'm talking about since previous August, like more than a year, like more year and a half. For the last 2 weeks I actually feel that at last I can decide what I will do on Sunday.
On Sunday?
Yeah, like probably more or less in the whole week, but at least now I don't have like to rush something to finish in time or something like that.
But in general, your main working time is still kind of filled with the projects and like, so you're kind of completely booked.
At the moment, for the maybe last few months, I'm trying to delegate some jobs for the people which I work together or which work under my supervision. That's one thing, because still that's the problem which I need to learn how to work on, that I always try to do something, to do everything on my own, but like that's not where I want to be. I want to build like higher picture probably, and I don't want to always work on the small stuff.
That sounds interesting. I mean, like it's like, you know,
it's not interesting. Like for me, it was like living hell. Like these last 2 years, it was like a whole like overwhelmed and everything. And actually, if you are talking about the mental health stuff, I was thinking for a long time to see like some specialist, like this psychological doctor. Now I'm taking actually like for the last few months, and for me surprising it was that many of these things which you do in life, for example, my problem with which I went to see the doctor is that, okay, I like have reached a lot of my goals which I wanted. I have like some sort of financial freedom that like, okay, I can rest for like many years if I don't do nothing and etc. But like this is where I wanted to eventually got. But when I got there, like what's next? And then it's like your childhood, your problems from there, like your family and stuff, so that accumulates everything, and you need to basically rework how your brain works and look in your life, like on your life from different perspective, and which now I'm like trying to understand it, and it all makes sense that basically it's not the problem that was the root of the problem, that I want to take on everything, because I don't see like a clear goal in my own path.
Yeah, it's like when I said it's interesting, I mean, like it sounded like this part was interesting to me, that you said that you at some point you finally got like a lot of free time, and then you was so scared of it that you like started to just to scream for more work.
I wasn't scared, I was just like being bored, because okay, I have like my second week off and I don't have a job. I have students where I like don't need to spend so much on, because they're like working on themselves. But okay, today is Tuesday. What am I going to do? Watch TV? But like I'm not so interested in TV. Like play computer games. Today maybe yes. Like 2 years ago, like no. Okay, how to fulfill my like wait till lunch so that I can go out to lunch with someone? But like I need to have some purpose to some motivation for something to do, and where to get it.
That's something that sounds like a dream for some people, right? I mean, like, so you had some business that was making some money for you, and then
Still, regarding the same blogger which I mentioned, a lot of people like dream of something, but usually, if they're living over their expenses and they are like spending too much money on some things, if they would just like sell their expensive car, move to some cheaper place, they could like fill half of their time and do what they want. But they just don't do it because that's how their brain works. They just go every time to the job, every day to the job, maybe getting burned out, and for what? So that I can like drive Mercedes like last year's or something like that. They would just like skip it. Okay, you have a lot of free time. Why are you not doing that? That's your choice.
So, and nowadays you said that you're working with a like you're visiting psychologists and like on a regular basis and
Yeah.
you,
Well,
you're getting through this like long journey of understanding yourself.
Yes, because like already after the first session, I was getting feeling okay. Now I understand that, like I understood that something is not right, but I was not willing to read 100 books and try to think on my own, because like if you feel like something like that, then you probably just go see a specialist, which from his experience will tell, okay, what's the problem. And after the first session, he said, okay, like your childhood, your like family status in the childhood, and like your childhood choices and relationships with your nearest people. And that's how it impacts your life, because she said that your brain basically encodes everything from the day of birth till like 7 years old, and these are the choices which works like without you knowing. You need to just like overcome them and work on these slowly steps.
This moment when you like you was telling about this moment when you understood that you are burned out. You said that you was kind of basically not you was feeling that you are not capable to solve some task that you would normally solve in 5 minutes, but you were spending some time. So basically that was a moment when you understood that you cannot do your primary function, because I mean, like, as a coder, I mean, like you're supposed to work with the brain,
Yeah.
and you realize that you have like your brains basically kind of, you know, failing to do the job.
I'm like saying that I was just sitting and looking at my screen for like 20 minutes and just thinking, okay, what should I do in this line? And I wasn't at the first time like acknowledging that. I was just like thinking, and after like 2 or 3 days I understood, okay, maybe something that's right, because I'm like going to the work every day and nothing is happening. I'm just sitting and staring at the computer.
I know exactly what you're saying, because I had like a very similar case when I was like on vacation in exactly the same state, and I was kind of I understood that I have to start playing chess just to prove myself that I'm still kind of, you know, capable of and I was like, you know, the first days I was playing like awfully badly, you know, like, and I was kind of thinking, geez, that's something is really wrong. So that was kind of a metric. But do you think it was possible to catch the kind of your condition before actually not getting to this kind of, you know, ultimate stage of being dysfunctional, like, you know? Do you think you missed
something? I'm not sure,
something?
because I wasn't feeling like that. Like, I wasn't feeling anything out of order. I was like, as always, working hard and just doing the stuff which I like, and I eventually run out of energy. And what my theory is, but it's like not confirmed anywhere, that like I'm like a little bit over 30 now, and it happened like when I was 29 or 30, and maybe it's some kind of age problem, that at around 30 you start getting something like this because some internal batteries run out, or maybe because I was like working in this IT environment for like almost like 8-9 years. Maybe that's some capability in there, because you said you was on vacation, but I'm the guy who really wasn't taking like vacations for like 2 or 3 years. Like in IT world, a lot of like people are the same. They
Of
just
course.
I don't need vacations
We have
because
work
like
to do.
yeah, we have work to do, and I like the work which I am doing and stuff. And in terms of vacations, I don't really like to. That's one more problem. I don't really like to do something because almost nothing like impresses me. I don't like to go to visit some, I don't know what people do, like visit some mountain or something like that, because like it's just a mountain. I don't like it. I want to work. And it's also the same, which the doctor said, that I don't have a proper, like I don't know how to say in English, but value scale or some, that I need to understand what I really like, and that's the thing why I don't like the usual stuff which people do. Because someone told me, okay, you have so much free time, we could go like learn how to surf and stuff. And then I'm thinking, okay, what is more interesting for me, coding something or surfing? Okay, it's definitely like coding, because I don't want to go to surf to spend two weeks in that. Till this point, and I understand that it's wrong, but why should I do something that interests some other people, not me? I like to do what I want to do, and it's also some probably long tail effect from your whole life, how your brain works, which need to be somehow encoded for that point, that through these small things you can get some relief and not to get overworked. Because in logical terms I understand that it's not right to work so much, and I would be more effective if I would know how to properly plan my time and plan my priorities, and learn how to do few other things good and become better in high picture. But because I'm used to do like that work a lot.
So what do you mean by effective?
For example, okay,
Like productive?
I want, not really productive. I want to be successful. Like that's my goal, and it doesn't mean like to code. But to code is like a shortest path, because okay, I can create some product, I can join like some company, I can get so good salary, or I can teach people and stuff. But I want to get successful. I want to get to know more about like digital marketing, or to get to know more about business and stuff. I want to like build something bigger. But how, if I would move my energy, for example, to some, for example, digital marketing, and I don't know what is popular right now, some e-commerce stuff. I could be like a lot more successful in the financial terms there maybe than in coding, but because I'm too concentrated on one thing, I cannot see some other thing how to get there better, because probably I'm usually busy with one thing. Like I don't know how to plan my priorities straight, and it's probably because I don't have so much free space in my head due to the thing that I don't know how to normally rest.
That's also about work, right? I mean, like, the digital marketing and business is also, so basically you're saying that if now you understand that you need to have like vacation and to rest properly, but the main reason for that is still to be kind of even better in your work, right? So it's like
in the shortest sentence, you don't always need to work hard, you need to work smart. And because I'm so busy and trying to get through things by working hard, I'm missing opportunity to rearrange my brain probably to work smart, because like I'm too busy working. Like the famous picture where you have like car with square wheels and round wheels. We are too busy to get yeah. So that's the thing, and it's pretty hard to get out of the thing which you have always been into. Like you don't know how to do the other way.
What was the longest vacation that you took, like before? I mean, like
before the 2 week period when I needed to take vacation.
Yeah. Before this long 2 week vacation. Have you ever had like 1 month's vacation? No, never.
Like I once took a 2 week vacation because they made me do in work, because there is like some cap which you can align. I was like just playing computer game for 2 weeks because I haven't prepared for that. But the longest vacation when you really go travel somewhere to do something was probably like 4 or 5 days.
Okay. You know all these scientific studies that basically kind of, you need at least 1 week to get kind of, to start
Yeah, well,
disconnecting from, you know, like
you,
from your work, and 2 weeks
most
is
most
actually
of the
kind of not
people
enough.
usually most of the people know that alcohol is bad, but they keep drinking it
Mm.
because like that's the way how they live it. And I knew that the burnout is something which some other people are getting, but I still was working. So I know that we need to rest, but it's hard to rest if you have work to do. So it's basically how your brain works and how what you need to overcome, and it's
Yeah,
really hard journey.
I'm have like one thought drilling my mind. I mean, like, so if you know how bad the burnout might be in your case, I mean, like, you probably don't want to be in this state again. I mean, like, you don't want to be in this state of not being able to kind of solve something kind of, you know, that you think you have to solve pretty easily,
Yeah.
right? And if you don't know how basically to identify early signs of that, you know, kind of how you think you're going to be protecting yourself kind of in future. What are the kind of the red flags for you now?
I haven't thought about the science, but at this point in my life, I am trying to really reserve some time for the doing nothing, like just watching TV. And actually, seriously, like 3 and more years ago, I was like always saying to anyone who watches some TV or play some computer games, like, what the fuck are you doing with your life? Why you're not doing something which how to say, improves yourself? Why you're doing some throwing your time into waste bin? But now I'm just like okay, like in some days like more than 1 hour per day. But like I was recently playing like PlayStation, which I wasn't doing like for 10 years, and because I know like while playing that computer game on PlayStation, I was feeling that okay, I am like getting into some other world, and after 1 hour for playing, I was like so rested that I understood okay, I just need to take my mind off something. It's the same with taking walks probably, but walk is boring. Like you need to work and it's good for your heart and whatever, but to make yourself to do boring stuff for 1 hour to just walk around the block, like I don't want to do it. And for example, this PlayStation stuff, okay, you just play 1 hour. Yeah, it's not good for your physical health, but for mental health, it probably is doing much better effect. I'm reserving time to do some kind of activities in the past time, and I hope that it's working.
Well, it sounds like, you know, when you're telling, it sounds like you're not doing any sport or anything, but then you was just kind of like, when you came in here, you was like, Sandris was like, you know, he had like his leg
Well,
hurt,
I
and
felt
like,
pretty badly. Yeah. Well, I'm not doing.
and you felt it during playing volleyball, right? So
Yeah. Well, I haven't really. I don't enjoy sports, but I understand that that's the thing which I need to do. So I was like pressuring myself for like I don't know last 5 years probably to go to the box training 2 days a week. So I know that I need to keep myself fit, and I'm doing that. I'm doing some stuff at the home, like with some small dumbbells and stuff. But that's the thing that in that point, even though I didn't enjoy doing that, I know it helps me. But with the mental stuff, it's actually it wasn't like that. I was just like thinking, okay, it's some kind of different type of battery which never runs out, but it ran out.
yeah, it's pretty much the same kind of battery that we use for both energies, I think. By the way, everyone, I'm still continuing talking with Sandris, but if you have questions, you can ask questions in the chat section. So please do if you have questions. Yeah, but like it's really it's again it's I have like even more ideas from what you're telling now, because I mean, like the one of the main topic that we're discussing on these sessions is actually kind of, you know, how all these mental things, how all these burnouts, how all this maybe depression sometimes works for specifically for people in our kind of industry, in our profession, in IT, and like, you know, when I'm now listening to what you're saying, and I'm seeing like how easy to get like overloaded in our profession, because probably if you're kind of, well, I mean like, you know, if the workaholics are everywhere probably, but there are some professions that are more bulletproof in terms of that. So you can, there are some professions when you stop working, when you're leaving office. With our profession, you can easily take, you know, second, third, fourth, fifth project, and you're starting in business with one hand, and then you're helping to someone with another hand, and that's probably a weak point, you know, kind of weak place of our kind of industry, that actually it's very difficult to
But
stop.
still, it very much depends on the people. I would
Mhm.
agree with you that in IT it's easier to get some kind of problems which you don't realize that you might get. But first of all, the reason is that it's highly intellectual work. Like even the monkey jobs, as which I mean, might call them, like very simple coding stuff. Still, you need to like think with your head all the time. That's the one thing. Second thing, as you mentioned before this session, that IT world is like evolving every day, and at least for me, I usually have the fear of missing out. Although with my
Mm.
logic, I understand that there is COBOL outside, which is like 60 years old programming language, and which is really in high demand, and I have a fear of missing out for like half a year, but it's probably impossible because still like a lot of companies are running like 20 years old legacy systems and stuff. But still, when all your colleagues are telling about these things, when you see that on like every internet page related to coding, okay, this new shiny stuff went out, this new shiny stuff went out, then you are like in constant pressure that okay, there is something better, I
I
need
have
to
to
learn
pick
it,
it up, yeah.
yeah, I have to pick it up and stuff. And third thing, I haven't really experienced it a lot in my professional career, but there have been like some cases when okay, we need to have this project done like in these terms, and we need to have a lot of overtimes and stuff. So basically, and usually in IT world, the overtimes are like paid really good, and then you have an option. Okay, I can just work more, have like more money and stuff, and you are just picking them up and like working for. I had one colleague who was working for like 30 days non-stop, like all the time, because they pay me, I have nothing else to do, why should I do it? And eventually you also get to this point, and probably everything combined together, you're basically living in computer world, but not just like in calm computer world, but where you need to work hard and think like to solve mathematical equations all the time. So it burns in your brain and makes you work like the same as analogy to work 30 days in like with cardio training or
Mm.
something like that.
Mm.
It's the same. You just don't
Mm.
feel it probably. Because I like before the burnout and actually even now I don't feel tired after the work day. Now I need to rest, but usually after intellectual work you don't feel that. Maybe you sometimes are dreaming about code or something like that, but it's not so physically hard, physically like draining your energy that you need just fell inside the bed. You are just okay. I switched off the computer
That's a,
and went to sleep.
that's a good question, by the way. I mean, like dreaming about code. Is it? What do you think? Is it normal, or it's like already kind of a symptom of
No,
something?
it's definitely not a symptom because
It's normal.
if you are not driving with car every day, but not professionally, you will dream about car something. Dreams are just some reflection of reality. If you are trying to
Mm.
solve some problem
Okay.
in your daily life, I don't think, because I was dreaming about code when I was starting to learn the code, and it was like in high school, and probably I wasn't getting burned out then.
Yeah, I think it's like it's a little bit of a question, you know, like what is the overall kind of feelings through these dreams? Is it like, you know, because if that's because of your excitement with the code, that's one thing. If you're really kind of, you know,
Well,
solving a difficult thing,
I haven't had nightmares about code or something like that. Usually, when
Okay.
like a lot of people are dreaming about code, and even the students say the same. But it's usually
Yeah.
that
Okay.
you are stuck in some kind of problem which you cannot solve,
Yeah.
and then you like dream about solving the problem. Actually, that's the thing. How I don't know how to say, but. The chemical table of elements.
Yeah.
How was born? It was
Mm.
born when the guy
Yeah.
Mendeleev
Yeah.
he dreamt about the correct way of
Yeah.
setting
You
it
were
up.
thinking, yeah.
So that's definitely, in my opinion, not a bad sign. It's just the way it is.
Well, I mean, like, you know, I'm not objecting this, but I mean, like, we don't know in what state Mendeleev was when he was dreaming about it. Maybe he was like burned out like a lot, but so maybe he was like, you know, working a little bit too much.
Not about Mendeleev, but as I
Yeah.
said, in high school I
True.
was also having that, and probably it wasn't the burning out.
Mm. Talking about your students, I think we are moving kind of to the final part. But then talking about your students, you see a lot of people coming into the profession, right? I mean, like it's like people coming from a, you know, kind of. I do remember your guys. I mean, like, you know, they were coming from.
We have like a really wide range of people. We have
Yeah.
like really
Drivers
low
and,
qualified and even like really high qualified.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have
People
different-
coming from the law, people coming from the finances, people coming from
the shops,
from the
fighters,
shops, yeah, and like doing like a great work and achieving great results. But like, what would you say to them? I mean, like, you know, what they need to take care. I mean, like, because they probably are quite excited when they getting these tickets, right, into the new world.
Well, I am doing a right job and a really bad job, like in this. The right thing which I'm doing, I'm always saying to everyone who is applying, I'm saying that this is not going to be a walk in the park. If you see some advertisements on Facebook, bring us money and you will become a software developer without doing nothing, that's a lie. And most of the people at this point know it. I'm saying, okay, we are going to teach you, but not really. We are going to teach you, you are going to teach yourself. We will just say what to do, and you will have like a really intensive period while teaching. And I'm always saying that first year in the work is going to be like really rough. Like you will not understand anything, but you need to like work hard to achieve the result, and it eventually will be better, because I'm always talking with each and every people which is taken into courses, because I need to understand the desire of becoming a programmer. If they are saying, okay, my friend said that they are going to have like I will earn a lot of money, I'm saying, okay, sorry, like unless he have exceptional results, but usually these people, they don't want to do anything. But I'm always evaluating like what's the reason why they are joining, and usually like 80-90%, like probably 80% is I don't feel so intellectually challenged in my life. Like I'm working in the law, but I see that it's the highest point which I am now there, and it's like not very satisfying in financial stuff and not very satisfying in my fulfillment stuff. So basically they are searching for something to do to evolve their brain intellectually. And probably the last 20% is that they are tired of working with people. They say, for example, we had one girl recently which was working as a doctor for the eyes, I don't know, optometrist or whatever, and she said, okay, it's people every day and I'm getting burned out of the people. And these were like her words, that she just don't want to talk with anyone. She just wants to sit in the office and like be inside like her head and do some tasks and occasionally talk with people.
Do you think that she have like a right choice? Like, you know, I mean, like, is it possible to work in IT and
definitely it's possible. You just need to like, if she already had this problem that she said the same thing. I just took like 2 or more weeks off, and I eventually left my job because I understood that's not for me. So probably why she was getting burned is because she wasn't in the right place, and she was getting burned because she was in the situation where she does not see any escape. Maybe that's a different type of getting like overwhelmed. For me, it was that I was just like taking too much job which I cannot handle. And she...
Absolutely, she definitely had a problem that she had to solve. I mean, like,
that was different kind of problem.
My question is like, kind of, is it good kind of, is it good hope that in IT you will be able to sit and not to communicate with people, like it's like, because we...
For her it was many people, like people changing all the time, like you see 10 people every day, 10 people, if you like sit in the office, like in some offices there is like complete silence, so I think that's a really good choice for her if she will get in the right place.
Yeah, I have not realized that it's a different a lot of people. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And that's the right thing, as I said, which we are trying to do, like
so you're preparing the people for the kind of for the difficult period.
I'm not selling their like dream castles. I'm saying, okay, this is going to be hard. You will need to work and stuff. And in the bad job, like we are really like pushing them in the period when they are learning to this probably
to
their limits, and we had like
stressing people out.
Because we say that that's really short period of time and you need to accumulate a lot of knowledge. They understand that, and at the last days there are usually some people saying, okay, I don't know, like I don't have time to sleep, so much work to do. Yeah, but we need somehow to manage and get where we want to be.
Well, as we talked like on our previous sessions, there are like kind of good type of stress and good kind of stress, and then there is bad kind of stress. I think kind of this kind of stress when you are learning and when you've been warned about that you have to kind of invest your time. I mean, like that's probably a good kind of stress.
Probably I disagree, because I recently read a good book about sleep, and there was not the theory but the story about how this how it's saying residential or the doctors was born, that they needed to work like, I don't know, like 16-18 hours a day, and usually it's the same in a lot of countries when these new doctors need to work like crazy hours and stuff. And why it was like that? Because like in 1850s there was a guy who was like doing coke and no one knew about it, and he was like the head of these new medicine people, and he was like making everyone work as hard as he did, and no one knew that he was like under coke. And that's the thing how it goes on. And actually there's science studies that these doctors in few countries like Sweden and I don't know some other countries, they're actually performing better under the less work amount. But in my business, in our like coding, teaching coding stuff, we say, okay, it's 3-4 months when you will get a lot of this knowledge, and we cannot probably like do less and stuff. So, but I haven't heard the real stories when someone of our students has burned out, but they work a lot.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, time flies, and I think we have to kind of switch to the next topic, because we have like 10 minutes left for this session. I don't see much questions for Sandris, but so I mean, like, if you still have a chance to ask your questions in the chat area. I hope it works for everyone. If you ask, I mean, like, we will definitely ask here if we have time or after the session, and we will kind of publish the answers then. So now, like, using the last 10 minutes, so, well, thanks Sandris a lot. I mean, like, I hope you will still stay here for the next 10 minutes, so you don't leave now. But like, I wanted to say thank you for this story and for this kind of ad hoc discussion that I think we kind of touched, like, some interesting points from different sides.
Probably.
Thanks a lot. So yeah, and like, using the last 10 minutes, I will just briefly tell you about the topic, like, what is that once again, and then I will ask Alise to add her points on that. As I said in the very beginning, we see that there is like a lot of questions from all the sides about like, you know, what is normal, what is not normal, you know, kind of how we can prevent like from being burned out, and like, you know, how we make sure that we don't have like too much stress, and is it possible to catch the moment? I mean, like, you know, and maybe employer need to, you know, kind of to do some actions on actually watching, you know, what's happening with the employees. Maybe HR need to help on this. So we want to start this dialogue. We want to start this dialogue with companies, and we want more people to participate in this discussion. So we are inviting everyone who feels that this agenda is important for your companies and for yourself personally to to start working with us, like, you know, kind of as volunteers, and to apply you know, kind of as mental health advocates, that's how we call it, as a people who will be advocating these topics at their workplaces with their employers. From our side, we will provide all the support, we will provide all the right language, you know, all the right topics that you may use when you are approaching your HR departments, when you are approaching your team leads, when you're talking about these topics with your colleagues. We will provide like additional information, materials that you can share with your colleagues. We will provide articles and the latest researches on the subject, questionnaires that you can use, like a lot of things. So for all those who will be saying, yes, we want to be part of that, we will be adding you into the Facebook group. This is a closed group where we will discuss the things and where we will publish all these materials. So this is the very first announcement. We will put like all this stuff also in written on our webpage. But we already have few people who are working like this and who are kind of bringing these topics into their companies and who are talking about that with their colleagues. So Alise, maybe I will give a word to you, and you can tell, like, you know, kind of how you envision that. Can you hear us?
Okay, man latviski.
Jā, protams,
man latviski, angliski labāk.
Jā, angliski, latviski būs labi.
Jā.
Tev ir aptuveni 5 minūtes, jā?
Labi.
Jā.
Kā jau Aleksejs minēja, es esmu viens no šiem mentālajiem advokātiem. Un ja es to pati gribu darīt, man tas ir svarīgi. Varbūt mazliet vairāk, kāpēc tas tā ir. Tāpēc, kad pirms gada es pati, teiksim, tā biju tādā diezgan lielā breakdownā, kad es sāku vērsties pēc palīdzības. Īsumā tieši mums gada arī bija tas laiks, kad sāka parādīties šī Chilaiks pasākuma. Man viss notika diezgan vienlaicīgs, apmeklēju gan pasākums, es arī apmeklēju terapeitu. Un tas ļoti sāka ietekmēt manu kvalitāti uz dzīvi, ne tikai uz darbu, ne tikai uz attiecībām, bet uz visu kopumā. Un es ļoti jūtu, kad ir jau pagājis tikai kāds gads, bet cik daudz kas ir mainījies. Es neteiktu, ka es pat esmu mainījusies, jo man neliekas nekad, ka cilvēki paši mainās, bet mainās viņu attieksmē un uzvedību uz lietām. Un jā, manuprāt, tāpēc, ka es arī pati šim visam esmu gājuši cauri, es zinu, kad ir kolēģi darbā, kuri vienkārši par to nerunā, vai arī nezina, kā vispār to sākt runāt, vai jūt, ka kaut kas nav kārtībā, vai arī nesaprot, ka varbūt savedot šo savu domāšanu kārtībā, viņi var arī palielināt savu produktivitāti darbā, uzlabot savu dzīves kvalitāti, tāpēc manuprāt, man tieši esot šim mentālās veselības advokātām, tas ir ļoti svarīgi. Es pati esmu to sākus ar sevi. Es sāku par to jau runāt komandā. Es jūtu arī, kad, pieņemsim, mans komandas menedžeris, mēs bieži vien runājam par šādām tēmām, un viņš saka, ka viņš ļoti grib, lai stand-upos kolēģi viņi vairāk saka, kur viņi jutušies slikti, kas viņiem ir gājis grūti, vai kas gājis tieši labi, ar ko viņi ir tā kā ļoti lepojas, vai arī jūtas priecīgi. Un es saprotu, ka diezgan daudz arī, man liekas, kompānijās tieši straglo tā kā ar šo, lai vispār kolēģi tā kā sākt par tādām lietām turēt, sākt runāt, jo tu nevari vienkārši pateikt cilvēkam, nu pasaka, kas tev nepatīk vai kas tev patīk. Bieži vien tev pašam ir jāsāk ar sevi, tev pašam ir jāatklājās, tāpēc man liekas arī šiem pašiem menedžeriem, ka ikvienam cilvēkam, ne tikai menedžeriem, ir vienkārši jābūt mazliet atklātākiem un kaut kā jāpārkāpj pāri tai baiļu robežai un jāsaprot, ka tas ir normāli, nevis traki un nenormāli, ja tev varbūt nav kaut kas izdevies vai tev no kaut kā ir bail, jo īstenībā komandai tas ir ļoti, ļoti svarīgi zināt. Tas ir daudz labāk, ja tu kaut ko tādu pasaki un atzīsti, nevis tu sēdi un klusē un straglo un tev kaut kas nesanāk vairākas dienas pēc kārtas. Un jā, tā īstenībā ir ļoti daudziem darbiniekiem, tāpēc, man liekas, ja kompānijā ir kāds mentālās veselības advokāts, pieņemsim, ka tagad es būšu, strādāju Technologies, es tiešām ticu, ka šī visa atmosfēra mums uzņēmumā ar laiku uzlabosies. Protams, tas nebūs tā kā tādu knipju sitienu, bet tas būs pamazām. Cilvēkiem vairāk saprotot, kad ir jāstrādā tieši ar sevi un piedāvājot arī tieši to attiecīgo palīdzību, vai psihoterapeitu, vai arī supervizoru, ja es pareizi izrunāju, dažādi coachi. Un, jā, tas ir ļoti svarīgi, kā arī Sandris, protams, tā minēja, kad katram cilvēkam ir tā domāšana, kāpēc tieši viņš tā izturās pret dzīvi, kāpēc viņš tieši tā, kāpēc viņš vispār tā domā, kur īstenībā tā sakna tā nav jāmeklē tieši tagad, bet tev tiešām ir jāparakājas, un katram cilvēkam, man liekas, ļoti interesanti un svarīgi saprast to savu domāšanu, jo, ja tu to sapratīsi, tad tu sapratīsi arī savējās bailes, kāpēc tev no kaut kā ir baila, kāpēc tev kaut kas nesanāk, un tad tev, un ja tu to sapratīsi, tu viņus tā kā uzvarēsi, un tu kļūsi spēcīgāks priekš sevis, pašpārliecinātāks. Un jā, es vienkārši būtu ļoti priecīga redzēt tik vienu cilvēku savā komandā, tādu savā uzņēmumā. Es pat jūtu, es jau esmu uzlabojusi attiecības noteikti ar saviem kolēģiem, jo es pat esmu palikusi atklātāk pret viņiem sākus runāties, un tādi kolēģi, kuriem es pat gadu nevarēju atrast normālu kontaktu, nezinu, pagājušajā daļā stāku runāt un izstāstīju lietas un tās valūs. Tā kā es nezināju, ka mēs varam būt tik atklāti viens par otru. Un tā kā ir ļoti svarīgi atrast tos atslēgu punktus. Un jā.
Jā, paldies! Paldies, Alise. Jā, tā kā jā, mums tagad burtiski palika tā kā 1 minūte. Jā, es tev piekrītu. Jā, tā kā es domāju, ka būs baigi forši, kad mēs varēsim pateikt, ka mēs nebūsim šodien darba vieta nevis tikai tāpēc, ka mums tur tā kā galva sap vai vēl kaut kāds, jā, tā kā sap, jā, tā kā fiziski, jā, bet dažreiz, ka mēs varam arī tā kā, varēsim pateikt, ka tas ir dēļ tā, ka mums arī tā kā kaut kāds mentāls nogurums, jā, tā kā, un tas tā kā, un viss sapratīs, ka tas ir tikpat svarīgi kā fiziskais stāvoklis. Bet, jā.
Tāpēc, ja tev salauz roku vai kāju,
Tieši tā.
Kaut ko nevar izdarīt, tas arī pats notiek tev prātā.
Tieši tā, un tas ir rezultāts varbūt arī tas pats vai sliktāk. Jā, bet paldies, jā, tā kā, un tagad mēs tiešām esam, jā, tā kā sasnieguši mūsu tā kā laika limītu, jā, tā kā mums, man liekas, ka es baidos vienkārši, ka mums arī atslēgs, tā kā 1 stunda, jā, tā kā tur bija tā ieskudulēts. Tā kā paldies visiem, kā piedalījies, jā, un tad gaidām arī jūs nākamos mūsu webināros, jā, tā kā meetupos. Un paldies tev, Alise, paldies tev, Sandris. Ja?